Stavros Mastrogiannis, and today I want to talk to you about how to resist food temptations. I think, that's a very important subject that a lot of people have a hard time with, especially today's environment where every third commercial on TV, some company trying to convince you to eat their food, or everywhere you turn, there's food everywhere. Okay, and you see a lot of companies who try to convince you that if you have a late night cravings, eat their food because it's much better than some other food. You see that I see that on cereal companies where they tell you, oh, don't have the cookie, have a cereal instead. It's much better. Or have this healthy bar that has nuts in it instead of the chocolate bar. Well, the fact is, I actually disagree with that kind of advice that try to replace an unhealthy food with a healthy food. And here is why I disagree. The fact is, if you are not hungry, whatever you ate is bad for your health and for your weight. Yes, you could argue that eating an apple instead of a cookie when you were not hungry, the apple is much better than the cookie. Yes, I agree. But the apple is still bad when you ate it and you were not truly hungry. Your body was not asking for the apple. You see, there's a reason why nature put this hunger mechanism there. Okay, is to tell you when the body needs food. The problem is today we eat basically for any other reason except true hunger. We eat for emotional reasons. We eat for stress. We eat for boredom. We eat again. Nobody. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why am I eating? And I want to talk a little bit about that before we get into how to deal with cravings, because I think that's very important. Because again, I see companies promote their food as the best alternative to eating instead of junk food when you have cravings. Okay? And now, actually, a lot of them even tell you that there is no point of resisting cravings because you will give in. I disagree with that. Okay, it's all about how you think. And there is a way to resist cravings with actually relatively easy too. And I'll talk about it at the end of this video. But for now, I want to talk about the fact that if you are not physically hungry, eating anything is bad for your health. Which brings me to the next slide. There's no such thing as a fattening food. And I include any food. Yes, you could actually eat pizza and lose weight. You could be going to McDonald's and lose weight. Again, I'm not promoting McDonald's. They don't have the healthiest food. But the point I'm trying to make is if you eat by listening to your body will forgive you if you're eating food is not as good for you. Okay. For example, if let's say you're eating pizza, but you're eating the pizza when you're truly hungry, you're physically hungry, you eat it slowly and mindfully, and you stop eating it when you've satisfied your hunger, nothing will happen to you. Okay? The key is to listen to your body. How many nutritionists or diets do you know that teach people how to listen to their body? Personally, I don't know that many. Okay? Most of the time they're teaching us to eat out of because it's breakfast time, because it's lunchtime, because it's dinner time. We eat for any other reason, but we never stop and ask ourselves, wait a minute, am I hungry? Or am I eating because I'm stressed or because I'm bored or for whatever other reason? Okay, the key is to learn to eat out of true hunger. That's actually the first 3 eating habits I teach my clients have nothing to do with what they're eating, but how they're eating. And I'll tell you a funny story about that actually, because this made me realize how important how you eat really is to your weight and health. I had a client that had learned the first 3 eating habits of eating out of true hunger, eating slowly and mindfully, and stopped eating when he had satisfied his hunger. And I think he had lost like 40 or 50 pounds at that point. And we're talking, he says to me, and by the way, he had done his blood work also, and his blood work had improved dramatically. So it showed really good results on his health. Anyway, so we're talking, he says to me, I still go to McDonald's pretty much 2 or 3 times a week. And I can't believe I'm losing weight eating McDonald's. And that made me realize how important these habits are. Again, a better choice would have been to eat healthier food by all means. But the point I'm trying to make is so-called bad food wasn't that bad when people ate out of true hunger. Now, let me get to the next point, which is the important one. So, how do you deal with cravings? And the truth is, dealing with cravings, it's a lot easier than most people think. The key is to change the way you think. One of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of people make, and matter of fact, a lot of fitness experts make advising their clients, is to remove junk food from your house. Okay, I strongly disagree with that uh, action, and here's why. Let's say you remove junk food from your house, and then you go to your friend's house, or you go to your office, and somebody else brings junk food into the office, or your friend has junk food. The problem I find, or a lot of my clients found when I was teaching it now, because in the beginning when I first got into the weight loss field, I was teaching my client what I had learned in school, and one of the things I had learned in school was to advise people to get rid of temptations from their house. But I found out that it wasn't working too well. People had a very hard time resisting junk food when it was around. And I remember myself, I put myself to the test, and I by the way, I used to be a huge junk food eater. And my first attempt to stop eating junk food was to get rid of it from my house. And I found whenever I went to my mother's house and she kept devil dogs in her house, and I love devil dogs, I wouldn't just eat one devil dog, I would eat half of the box. And I realized that this is not working. Getting rid of junk food from my house did not work really well for me, and also for most of my clients. And that's when I realized that the best way to get rid of cravings and not to give in is to learn to control yourself. Because once you learn to control yourself, it doesn't matter what's around you. Controlling your environment, it's a much, much harder proposition because, again, the environment is not always under your control. So learn to control yourself. Now, the question is, how do you do that? And like I said in the beginning of this video, it's a lot easier than you think. And this is what you do. Now, when you're having a craving, basically, you're asking yourself this question. What excuse I can come up with so I can eat? And we come up with things like, tomorrow I'm gonna run an extra mile, tomorrow I'm gonna eat extra good, tomorrow I'm gonna do this, tomorrow I'm gonna do that so I can eat right now. The problem is, tomorrow never comes. The only time you have control over it is right now. So the best way to deal with it is change the question. You see, the way that the subconscious mind works, okay, it takes in a question. It doesn't analyze it to tell you, this is the wrong question, or this is wrong, you shouldn't do this. It just finds an answer. So if you ask the question, what excuse I can come up with so I can eat, trust me, you will come up with a good enough answer so you can give in. Okay, and by the way, if you ask that question, you lost the battle already. You might as well enjoy your junk food. So what you do is change the question. You got to ask the right question if you want to get the right answer. So what is the right question? The right question is, what else can I do instead? And by the way, the other thing I want to say about junk food, there's nothing wrong with eating some junk food every so often. So the rule that I have and I teach my clients is make junk food special, because it's much harder to try to eliminate something than just postpone it. So my rule is Monday to Friday I eat perfect, and on the weekends I can have my junk food or special occasions or holidays. And having that attitude, by the way, it's a lot easier to resist knowing, let's say it's Wednesday and you really had craving for chocolate. Isn't it easier to resist knowing that you could have the chocolate on Saturday guilt-free? It's a lot easier than if you said to yourself, no more chocolate for me. And by the way, I couldn't do that either because I love my chocolate. Milk chocolate, by the way, not dark chocolate. So again, it's a matter of resisting cravings is a matter of asking the right question. So the right question is, what else can I do instead of eating this candy? Or eating, by the way, at all, because again, I don't care if you're eating candy or if you're eating an apple. If you're not hungry, you shouldn't be eating. So again, the question should be, what else can I do instead? And what happens is by planting that question into your head, sooner or later, the answer will start coming. And by the way, just because you ask the question, it doesn't mean your subconscious mind can come up with the answer right away. Has it ever happened to you where you forgot some actor's name or some fact, and then a week later it popped into your head, and that's what was the person's name? Well, The reason it happens is when you originally asked the question, try to remember somebody's name, the subconscious mind might not have the answer right away, but it was working on it and you weren't even aware of it. And then when you found the answer, it just popped it up. Well, same thing would happen with cravings by asking the right question. So you could start asking the question, what else can I do instead of eating? And the first time I still give in because the subconscious mind did not have an answer for you. But keep asking the question. Sooner or later, you will start coming up with answers like, I could drink some water. I can have some water with lemon. I can uh, play with my iPhone. I can play a game for 5 minutes. I can take a walk. Trust me, the key is to ask the question. And sooner or later, the answers will start coming and you'll find yourself much easier resisting cravings. And by the way, the other thing you can do is give yourself no choice. You see, by giving yourself a choice, that's when a lot of times you make the wrong choice. See, I don't give myself Monday through Friday. I have no choice. I don't eat junk food, period. And by the way, I keep junk food in my house. You know, all of my favorite junk food, I have them in my house. I see them all the time, but it doesn't even faze me anymore to have them. So even if I go to somebody else's house and they keep junk food around, it doesn't faze me. There's no temptation for me to give in and have the junk food because I've learned to control me. And that would be my advice to you is learn to control yourself, not your environment. Okay? And this is how I would tell you, I would teach you to control temptations is by controlling your thoughts. Once you learn to control your thoughts, game over for cravings. Thank you for watching. I truly hope you found my advice helpful. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget to leave them in the comment section of this video. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you did find my advice helpful, please do like this video and share it with your friends and family so it can help them to get rid of food cravings. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video. Quick recap. First, when it comes to food temptations, learn to control yourself, not your environment. The environment is not always under your control. Second, don't give yourself a choice. If you're having a craving, remind yourself that you have no choice and you will not give in. Third, after you remind yourself that you have no choice, ask yourself this question: what else can I do instead of eating? Sooner or later, the right answer will come. If you would like to learn more about my approach to sustainable weight loss and vibrant health, you will find a link in the description of this video.